Guys, tonight we were talking about hoarding. Now, Scott, we're going to start with you on this one, man. When does it make sense to hoard a position in Dynasty, and when does it not make sense? Go ahead.
Makes sense to hoard a position in Dynasty when you have 60 leagues and thousands of dollars in a portfolio to where you really don't care if every single team is in perfect alignment to try to win right now. And especially in those leagues where you know there are some fish that may not bite on the dream deal that you're looking for, but you just wait it out. And I hate to say this, but you wait for some manager turnover. You wait for some attrition to where somebody kind of abandons their team or doesn't manage it right, to the point where you're essentially ready to stomp on them or step on throats or unleash the hammers. And now I'm sitting here with 3 top 9 quarterbacks that I might have only been able to trade one for Amon-Ra St. Brown, because that's the best I could have got now, until the leverage moment comes up and it's Amon-Ra St. Brown and a first or another quarterback, to where I really hammer somebody with a leverage trade. So I think it's position dependent, which we'll get into in this stream a little bit more. But I think hoarding positions, one thing, I know Shane and I disagree, so I'm very curious as to his thoughts here.
For sure.
Is he sometimes will, especially as we get closer to the season, will maybe rush a little quicker to get to that, hey, I have 3 quarterbacks. I don't need 3 quarterbacks. Let me see what I can get. Whereas if I have the quarterbacks in the right spot, I don't think we necessarily value the warp or the positional advantage that we are taking away from somebody else.
From another team.
Whereas if Clay doesn't have a second quarterback, but he has a decent team, I have 3 top 10 quarterbacks, but I'm missing a receiver. It actually benefits Clay more to do that trade, because now we're both even up, right? Like, I have the receiver I need, you have the quarterback you need, but you probably were more desperate because you don't have the asset that's the more scarce one. So We'll just think about it from that perspective. Don't rush. It does make sense to hoard, but I've seen people over hoard, and then they get in trouble by hoarding in the wrong spots, and they go, wow, nobody wants to trade for my Ryan Tannehill when he's my QB5. What's going on?
Right. Shane, what are your thoughts on this, man? Because, yeah, you do differ from Scott in terms of not wanting to hoard. You're like, oh, I've got all these studs. Let me sell one of them and get something cool.
Look,
what do you think?
One of the good things about growing up is poor is that you learn how to get by with enough, right? Seriously, like, you know that, like, I don't need any more than this. I got enough food to last me till next week. That's all I need. I'm going to trade the rest of this food for some electricity because I need that too. So that's what you end up doing, right? But it's got to be for, and I heard someone using my word today, fungible. It's got to be for a fungible asset. It's got to be for like a hammer. It's got to be for a utility. It's got to be something useful. Like, I don't want to just trade this week's groceries for cable TV. You know, that's a luxury. I don't have to have that. I need electric. You know what I mean? Electric's important as shit. 100% agree with Scott, though, is the hoarding of bad players is a terrible idea, where we see people hoard 15 quarterbacks in a Superflex, but the quarterbacks are Clayton Tune and Case Keenum and just Derek Brown, like, just dudes like that. You know what I mean? Like, just Derek Anderson, not Derek Brown. D-Bro's a good guy. Derek Anderson, just randos like that will never have any value. You know what I mean? Brett Rippon, things like that are just never, there's no reason to have like 7 of those.
So the reason I came up with this idea is I was thinking, I was in a startup, and it didn't happen in the startup that we're in right now, Shane, but oftentimes you'll see, like, a team will get a Lamar Jackson, let's say, in the first round. They get a mediocre QB2, and they're like, oh, I'm going to hoard Mac Jones, Derek Carr, Kenny Pickett, hoarding that level of quarterback. Now, they aren't difference-making quarterbacks. Yes, there is some scarcity there, but talk to me about that in particular. It's a super flex, and you're hoarding a bunch of mid-level QBs.
Well, I think the mistake is, if you're going to take that approach in a startup, right? Like, you're going to go QB, the QBX, like John Hogue always talks about. I've seen it happen. I've seen him do it. I've seen others do it. Here's the problem you run into. As soon as you draft Kirk Cousins as your QB3, that looks awesome for this year. In fact, if I dangled Kirk Cousins in front of Shane on a team where he needs a quarterback, he'd probably be moderately interested if the price was right. Then you go down a little further. Derek Carr, my QB4. Mac Jones is my QB5. That looks great in the short term. How do you defeat that person? And I think that's the key point of hoarding. If someone is hoarding against me, how do I defeat them? I'll give an example. On the contrary, I was in a league where a guy had 4 of the top 10 quarterbacks. You know how we beat him? The entire league colluded without saying it. Nobody traded him. He was there now going, man, I lucked into this 4th good QB. He had bought Deshaun Watson low, and he had lucked into having 4 of the top 9. But then he goes, all right, starts sending out offers. Trevor Lawrence for Jamar Chase. Justin Fields for Justin Jefferson. And the teams are just like, nah, I'm good.
Nah.
I can't beat you because you also have Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Deshaun Watson, and Trevor Lawrence. And I think it was, instead of Hurts, it was Burrow. But everyone looked at his roster and said, you giving me Burrow for Chase, I can't beat you if I make that trade. The way I can maybe beat you is the rest of the league just operates like those quarterbacks are out of commission.
You just shrink the market.
Right. So the floor for everybody else becomes lower and the ceiling for everybody else becomes lower, but you've frozen that team out of the market. Now, he had 4 of the top 9. Big difference there, because I bet you he can wait a season and maybe prey on a new manager next year or find somebody desperate enough to make the trade. Here's the issue with the QBX. Kirk Cousins, QB3. Derek Carr, QB4. Mac Jones, QB5. Maybe you even go deeper. You have to hoard Baker Mayfield as QB6. Yeah. Here's the issue. What has already occurred is the time is actually acting against you if there isn't a trade to be had, right? Because you already know pretty much outside of the top 12, 15, 16 QBs, the rest are year to year, just like running backs. There's a reason I wouldn't say, hey, hoard running back. Because you would just go, great, dude, you want to hoard every running back? Fine. Your entire roster is going to be built value on every running back. Same with the QBs. Like, I'm going to challenge that team that goes, oh, man, I'm going to hoard that Derek Carr from you. Okay, well, what if in a year Derek Carr is even less desirable than he is right now? You've basically missed a window on a player that has no ability to leverage the market for anything more than what you're being offered. And what you're being offered is probably less than what you want, because you're trying to leverage everybody that doesn't have a quarterback. So it's almost like if you're in that situation and your QB4 is Derek Carr, your QB5 is Mac Jones, that's where you say, all right, I want to hoard, but Shane's willing to give me 80% on the dollar for Mac Jones, a second. In that case, you take it because it allows you to get the flexibility back. So that's where hoarding goes wrong. When you hoard in flat ranges that have no chance to accrue value, they'll just wait you out. You go, good. Yeah. That QB room looks awesome next year when 2 of those 5 guys are either not starting, team drafted a rookie first rounder, whatever it might be. We know the back half of the QB landscape is going to be very volatile when you get to the offseason. So that's where QB hoarding goes wrong.
So let me Shane's shuffling paper. He's a doodler now ever since the Mason stream. We're going to put up this super chat because it's relevant here. Thank you very much, Fantasy Plumber. Is hoarding viable in a lineup league? Leaving a weakness at other positions while burning warp on the bench seems counterproductive. Love the Mind Warp series. So is there another angle you can approach here, Scott?
Well, I'm going to get Shane's thoughts, but I'll just say this. If the warp you're hoarding on your bench is actually less painful to you than it is hurting the team you're hoarding it from, that's where I have no problem benching Justin Fields every single week if he is my QB3 and I've invested in 2 better quarterbacks. I am not obsessed with, man, I cannot hold him. I don't want to waste that warp on my bench. But I would also answer the question by saying there are very few spots where I can literally impact the warp market by hoarding a player on my bench. A lot of times you think you're doing it, and then you look and you're like, damn, I really wish I would have traded for that other piece instead of waiting 8 weeks with no tight end or no wide receiver 1 because I just had to store that QB on my bench. So I would say yes, but very specific circumstances. The last place would be tight end.
Yep.
You have Kelsey, Andrews, Pitts, and you only want to start 2. You know you've probably marketed everybody else out of him matching you at tight end in any capacity. So there you could justify it, but all right, do you have that tolerance and patience?
So you said you wanted to ask Shane. What would you like to ask Shane? Are we having him talk about this?
Am I talking?
I see warp. That's a risk. I see warp.
No, let's break it down into simpler terms, Shane. 12 teams, start 10, 1.5 premium. if I told you your roster construction was pretty close to what you wanted it to be, is there a world where you would keep 3 top 5 tight ends and you only start 2? Would you ever put yourself in that position? Would you ever keep 3 top 9 QBs in a start 10, knowing you're starting Cortland Sutton in one of your wide receiver spots instead?
Most likely the only way I'm doing that is if I can't trade one of them for a significant piece. Like I'm always looking to move it for a piece that's either better or is good, just at a different position.
How low do you go, though? Let's say Deshaun Watson is your QB3. All these trade calculators in the market says you should be able to get A.J. Brown or C.D. Lamb, and the best you're getting offered is Amon-Ra St. Brown. Are you accepting it?
For Deshaun? We
Yes.
want the quarterback already?
I'm just saying, you lucked into Deshaun as your QB3. You see, hey, I should be able to get damn near Chase or Jefferson or Lamb or Brown for this, but I'm only being offered Jalen Waddle. And that's the best in your league. You've already tried to get everybody above it. They won't bite. Are you taking
I'm practical.
Are you settling for the best piece you can get, even if it's 80%?
Yeah, I'm practical. I'm going to do that. I'm
okay.
going to do that. I mean, I know that a lot of people are like, oh, just stuff the quarterback in your pocket and do this again next year. But your league's already shown you how they value the quarterback position. And sure, that can change a little bit over time. But generally, people are set into their ways. It's going to depend on my wide receivers too, right? Like, do I have a legit wide receiver 1? Do I have a legit wide receiver 2? Like, am I rocking AJ Brown, T Higgins, and I don't know, give me another Chris Olave? Then maybe I don't need to make that move. Maybe I go, well, fuck you guys. Then I'm going to hold on to it and just, you can continue to roll out Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo out there.
Well, in that circumstance, Cortland Sutton is your 9th best player. So you're forced to start him every week, and Justin Fields is on your bench.
Yeah.
Are you trading Justin Fields for Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah, what are we talking about? It's about a 7-point a game difference between the two.
Clay's shaking his head. You're holding out on the QB, right, Clay?
That's right.
Hell
7
yeah,
points.
man.
It's about 7 points a game difference between Cortland Sutton and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
How much does Justin Fields cost on his own, Shane? If you were to just throw first,
we're talking about. But here's the thing, right?
I get it.
But
I'm just saying.
I could have all the money in the world, but if I go to Estonia and they go, we don't take this money here, so it's only worth this much, which is what a league economy is. I can't go, well, this money is worth this much in America, because they're going to be like, fuck you, you're in Estonia. This is what you get for it here. Now,
why are you playing in Estonia leagues anyway? That sounds very
I'm trying
like
to broaden.
70.
I'm trying to broaden the game. I'm just trying to broaden the game. So I go to Estonia, Eastern Europe, to get it popping.
So here's what I'm trying to pry out of Shane, though, is it just because you have the excess that you're willing to take the loss? Or is it, because I could tell you, Shane, would you trade Kendre Miller right now for a 3rd? And you would probably say no, but you're also looking at where he fits on your roster, and you're going to say he's down on my bench. So why would I undersell? I have no motivation or loss by not selling him for less than market. In this case, it's because you are wasting points in starter range on your bench, and that changes your mindset, though?
Well, yes, because ultimately my goal is to actually win every week, not to have the prettiest roster, not to have the roster that has the most warp. And going, hey guys, look at all this warp chilling on the bench. And then I know Koopa Troopa is working on the lineup thing. So then what I'll say is, hey, guess how much lineup warp I had that I wasted with Deshaun Watson sitting on the bench. Shut up! I'll be back.
Nice. We're not live. No, Scott, when I was thinking about this, okay, so the whole Justin Fields thing, I think one angle too is, yes, I would be open to selling an elite QB for a nice piece. Amon-Ra, plus it would have to be at least a 1st, but it would also depend on that other team. If that other team is trash or they can't become a contender with the piece that I give them, a quarterback, obviously a big piece that they need, that's a little bit of a piece, but I lean more your way in terms of I just don't want to give somebody a player who's worth 3 or 4 firsts for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
That's okay. Cool. Then you'll continue to lose.
Oh, hi, Shane.
You have to score points. Oh, I'm hyped now. So you got it. Anyone back talks me, it's on. But you got to score points is my point, right? And I'm not saying sell Deshaun Watson for Cortland Sutton, for Juju Smith-Schuster, for DJ Moore. But if it's Amon-Ra St. Brown, it's a dude that's a top 10 dynasty wide receiver.
The reason I brought it up this way is because we're siphoning out the behavior here and when the behavior changes, right? If it is a nondescript bench player for a third and you think he's worth a second, you have no problem saying, oh, I'll just hold. I'm not getting what I want. But because it is a starter range player, you look at that and go, I can't have that on my bench when I could get another lesser starter back in the trade. Whereas Clay and I think, are more in if the value isn't in a range that I'm willing to take, I don't care if I have 8 quarterbacks, I'm not doing it. Whereas I think Shane is more focused on, man, if I can help my team, even if I'm taking a loss long-term, it's like, man, you pull up somewhere, you go, I really don't want to pay $12 for that piece of pizza, but I'm so hungry that I either starve or I overpay. And so I'm going to overpay here just because it quenches what I'm trying to get right now. It's how we dynasty a little different. I think the decision-making process there is fascinating to see. When does Shane's behavior change versus when do we hold our ground? I think Clay and I hold our ground just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Are you surprised? Shane's a little bit more, seat of his pants kind of guy.
But that's also because
just poking the bear.
I will say, but that's also because, and we should talk about this, right? Because Ray actually brought this up in his AMA. He was like, well, part of it's your league economy, but your league activity, right? I know I play in most of the leagues I play in. I can make future moves. You know what I mean? Like if I really regret a move, I can almost undo it. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be a 1-for-1, but I can generally go ahead and undo it. If you're playing in a league with no activity, I think, well, that would probably even actually push me towards more doing it, come to think of it. But
I was going to say, you're using your own logic against you. As if it's a super active league, you should actually hold out for the higher price on the big quarterback.
I guess, but I don't know. Your league economy, right? You've been sending out offers. You just said it. When I send a player out, right? I just go down the league, and I have a level I'm at. And then as soon as everyone turns that down, I go, okay, well, that's not what the price is here. So I'm going to pay Estonia money.
That is 1725. Somebody make a note of that. Okay, let's we have 263 eyeballs in here. Thanks for joining on a Tuesday. Hit that like if you wouldn't mind. Easiest way to help out the channel. And look at Shane's sexy Dynasty Trades and 5 hat there. Just saying. The dad hat with the circular patch and the 5 in the middle. We'll talk more about some merch poo later. All right, so let's go to Reese here. Let's step away from the hoarding for a second. Reese, thank you for the super chat. 12-team Superflex start 11 with a 0.75 tight end premium, so 1.75 for tight ends. Have Allen, Stroud, Daniel Jones, Stafford, Swift, Sanders, James Cook, Amon-Ra, Ridley, Moore, Davis, Pitts. Give Stroud and a 25 first. Get Deshaun Watson. Okay.
You know what?
Do you think?
Me 3 months ago probably would have said, you know what, I'm fine with it. Right now, with his QB room, Stroud, Daniel Jones, Josh Allen, I actually probably would hold off on this just because I think my other parts of my team are good, not great. And I think I just hold, and I don't think this price changes, assuming that Stroud isn't a complete bust and Watson, even if he's just really good, I don't think this type of deal goes away if the other person is looking for the process. So you know what? I'm going to hold. I'm not blowing my future first, especially 25. Shane, I assume he probably already traded his 24, so you're digging your hole a little bit farther here. And I don't think we have a team where I go, it is so good, I can just ride it out for 2 years and it's going to dominate, and I'll wait for my 26 first. So I'm holding here.
Yes, start 11. Sorry, Shane, you definitely go ahead, but start 11. I'm just looking at the lack of assets listed, right? Or they're not very attractive.
Oh, so, he says it's 25. Mac. He says it's Mac Jones instead of Daniel Jones. That changes the QB evaluation a little bit.
It definitely does a bit. So Shane, knowing that now it's Mac Jones instead of Daniel Jones, what do you think? Stroud and a 25 first?
No.
Yeah, Stroud and a 25 first or Watson?
No, because I just, and you shouldn't do this, but I'm just looking at the startup ADP. Like Stroud's going only a few spots after Watson. Like I'm not willing to throw in a first with him to get into a tier that I think Stroud can get into. Reese said this came right off the startup. So no, I don't want to pay that to move up into the tier that I think I'm already kind of in with Stroud.
Okay, let's go to this one here. Professor Charlie, I have to put this up, and the hashtag's hilarious for tonight. Look at Shade shaking his head, but look at the hashtag for tonight. Thank you for the super chat, Charlie. Hashtag is trying to make this easy to read. Okay. 10 teams, start 9 Superflex. Give Henry and Ridley, so Derrick Henry and Ridley, get Saquon and Alec Pierce. QBs are Allen, Watson, AR-15. Wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, Olave, Devontae Smith, DK Metcalf. Tight end is Mandrews. Feeling like I'm win now, hoping to contend longer. Pretty nicely done, Charlie. So what do you guys think here?
Yeah, I mean,
you're getting cute here, Charlie. You're getting cute. You're trading. I have no reason to do this. I'm betting Derrick Henry versus Saquon Barkley. I'm not paying Calvin Ridley, who I could probably net a first for the 60% chance that Barkley's better than Derrick Henry. I'm good.
In a start 9, you think you could get a first for Calvin Ridley? Alex Pierce is useless, right? And it's Alec.
It's an Alec,
you know what?
It's an Alec Pierce premium league.
Alec Pierce is definitely useless.
You trade DK Metcalf for a first or Devontae Smith for a first. They're all the freaking same. I'm not getting cute and trading away a piece that's in a starter range in a 10-team start 9. No thanks.
Yeah. I unfortunately have to agree with Scott here, and I do prefer Barkley over Henry. But Alec Pierce is useless. Like if you
cut him in this format almost.
Yeah. If you're starting Alec Pierce in this, like your life has made a left turn somewhere.
You know how you destroy a dominant team in the 10-team start 9? You get so arrogant and you make like 5 of those deals, and then you go, oh my God, all my depth is gone, and I have 2 injuries, and now I have nothing because I bet Saquon Barkley is way better than Derrick Henry. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff there. Charlie, nicely done on the writing of the super chat.
Appreciate that, Charlie. Very good.
That's arguably the best he's ever done. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up another question. Let's find weird question, and then I'm gonna think another one that's on topic here. So from Shimmy, weird question.
Shimmy y'all, shimmy yam, shimmy yeah.
There you go. Have 7 picks in the upcoming rookie draft. Can you talk on drafting almost all running backs as a rookie RB hoard? Good process. So this is good. This is talking about hoarding RBs as opposed to QBs and tight ends. Shane, let's start with you on this one. What do you think?
Are these second round picks? Because if they're second round picks, you already know that's what we want to do anyway, right? Like, sure, give me all the Kendre Miller, the who are the other ones? Devin Chain, even though Roshan, Tank Bigsby. Like literally, give me all of them. At this point, I'll take Deuce Vaughn probably in the back end of the second round of the rookie draft. Like, yeah, I'll be using most of those on running backs.
Man, again, 6 months ago, I would have said, yeah, I'm all for it. But now that I've looked into Warp more and I got a couple questions. It's wins over replacement player. We've done a ton of content on it, so I'm not going to explain it more here. But looking more into Warp, like I don't want to waste every second round pick drafting 7 running backs. I'll pick my spots. I'll take a Roshan. I'll take a Kendre. I'll take a Bigsby. If I had 7 picks, though, I don't want to draft 7 rookie running backs. What I'd rather do is kick a couple of those picks to the future and actually be able to spend them during the season for production at running back. Because, again, what's my theory on running back, Shane? And they're all 1-year bets, right? So, if you're not helping me this year, Kendre Miller, see ya. I'll take a second. It's not a matter of the prospect or the profile. It is what can you do for me right now? So I really don't want to draft 7 rookie running backs. Numbers say 2 or 3 of them are just going to be whitewashed. Isaiah Spiller, Zamir White, like they're just going to be, they're bench fodder. So kick some of those picks to the future, be able to spend them when I can actually buy points.
But what if you can't? Your league not going to trade with you, and they're like, you got to make all these picks. So you're saying you're going to split them between wide receivers and running backs?
They won't give me. It's okay. I'm going to answer the question like this: don't get arrogant. Trade the 202 for a future second instead of trying to trade the 210, and draft Roshan Johnson instead of Tank Bigsby. That's how you do it. You don't trade the pick that nobody will trade for, and say, "Oh man, well I have to make a pick, so I'm just going to draft Puka Nacua." Or whatever it is. The point is trade when you can get the trade. If you have 7 picks in the second round, I guarantee you can move a couple of them. You can't pick all the guys you want and then try to move the ones when there's not the players you want on the board anymore. So pick the ones you can not get out of, but trade the ones you can get out of.
Here, I will say this, right? As much as we this running back class has been an absolute fucking roller coaster, right? We loved it before the draft, not so much after the draft, and now, honestly, this preseason, it's been killing it. Like
it's gotten cool again.
It's taking everyone's job. Deuce Vaughn's a thing. Scott, do you believe in Deuce Vaughn?
Listen, they're running backs though. They have two good plays, and you're going, man, if that guy just gets a chance, he could be good. Like, that's the position.
Did you see Kendre Miller's 70-yard touchdown or whatever it was? I don't know.
Not quite that, but
not 70.
I understand where you're coming from.
Tommy, thank you for the super chat, man. So he says, for Scott, someone offered me a third for Sean Tucker. I hesitated more than I'd like to admit, but of course I smashed. Also sold Tank Dell for a second an hour ago with the bicep curl. What is that? With the strong arm emoji. The flex. There we
flexing,
go.
homie.
You can definitely flex on the Tank Dell for a second. So that's a good deal, no matter what. Listen, Sean Tucker for a third, just be realistic. If someone offers me a third for Sean Tucker, I'm probably going to take it because I have 60 leagues. I have tons of shares of almost every running back in that range. So it's no sweat if I trade 1 out of 9 away. Now, if you're going to sit there and say, you know what? I love Sean Tucker. He was my favorite player. I've been a diehard Syracuse fan my entire life. I believed in him since his freshman year. I want to keep Sean Tucker. Then keep him. But just kind of acknowledge the reason you're keeping him is bias. And if you want to keep a player because you say in a year, if Sean Tucker's good, I bet you I can get 2 seconds. Fine. Just acknowledge why you're doing it. People argue with me all the time. Oh, man, I wouldn't do that. That's bad process. And they don't have a process. My process is ironclad. I'll tell you what it is if you disagree with it. And honestly, most of the people that disagree with my process is, well, you just don't evaluate players. You don't watch film. No, I don't. So I'm going to go with the process of trading a guy like Tucker for a third. But if you think he's going to be worth more, then keep him. Just acknowledge what bet you're making.
I'll grind the film.
Yeah.
Let's go with Shane on this one. Thank you for the super sticker Rockstar 127 UT. 10-team Superflex start 10. Drake London for Danny Jones. What do you think?
I mean, there's not a lot of context to this, and I'm not going to really ask for a lot. I'm going to assume your quarterbacks are fine. I'll take Drake. I'll take the Drake.
10-teamer, I'll take Drake London. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it weren't a 10-teamer, yes. No.
12-teamer, you could justify going Daniel Jones.
I would go Daniel Jones in a 12-team. Yeah. That's a good one, though. That's a good one. Thank you there, Rockstar. Okay. Let's and this is funny. MJ put up a note that you starred. Apparently I'm on the clock, right? So I'm gonna have to pick someone. Here's MJ right here in our listener league startup. I will, MJ. I'm on.
Now I know her last name.
Oh yeah, I'm starting to learn a little bit about her every single time. You know, it's only taken a year since I met her. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to Johnny Walker. We'll go with Johnny Walker Blue. Thank you for the super chat. 1 of 2, Scott, this one will be for you. 12-team PPR with a 0.25 point per carry. So a big point per carry there. Start 10. Allen Fields at QB. Henry Etienne, Elijah Mitchell at running back. Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams. Debo Thielen and Hawkinson at tight end. Own a 24 first that Dynasty Daddy says is second most. Okay, the second part is likely to be the 101 plus that guy's second. Okay, what is that? Okay, so he's thinking he has the 101, 24 first. It's a 101, right? Moves was considering breaking up Garrett Wilson. Best offer I have is Waddle and Damian Harris. Have no depth, but don't want to sell those picks. Thanks for being studs. Thank you, Johnny Walker. Is that how you read it real quick, guys? That the 24 first that he owns is projected to be like the 101, likely the 101. I guess that's what we're going with, right?
Yes.
He says the second best chance, I'm assuming, to be the 101. So let's just assume it's an early top 3 pick, worst case scenario, something like that. So, I mean, in that case, PPC, start 10. I have Allen and Fields, Henry, ETN. Like, this isn't a team where I'm like, this is automatically going to be a playoff team that's going to smash, but I also am kind of fine going slim with Allen, Fields, Henry, Garrett Wilson, Hawkinson. I mean, I'm okay taking the field with what I have and just kind of playing the, that pick is the golden chip that I really decide when I want to move it or not. If he's that confident that it's top 3, I'm not moving it yet. But like, for instance, for Jalen Waddle in a point per carry, no, I'm not taking that, especially if I'm that confident it's top 3. Like, it's off the table.
No
I need Jalen Waddle and another, even if it's a crusty, I need another starting running back. I need another, at least like a Kamara, Aaron Jones, Mixon, somebody almost better than that. I need like a strong 2-for-1 to give up that pick. And Damian Harris doesn't do it. So I'm holding more leverage on that first if you're going to move it.
Real quick, is Damian Harris going to get cut from the Bills?
Well, they signed Ty Johnson. They signed Darrington Evans. Probably not cut, but he did get injured already. So that's
not looking great, Bob.
Yeah, that's one of those where everyone assumes he's RB2, and then they bring in another guy that gets cut, and you're like, wow, yeah, he's buried. So I
so badly wanted Darrington Evans to be a thing. I love App State. Went to school in North Carolina, and App State was such a sweetheart team there. But yeah, that ain't happening. Okay, so let's go to this one right here, and then I'm going to find a non-super chat. Bob Pierce, thank you very much. I've been in several Superflex startups where a player traded his early picks for round 1 next year. So for a first next year, one team has 9 firsts, but no real assets. Is this a legit strategy? We've covered one like this before, and Scott, I remember your thing was like, hey, if you're going to do it, you go all freaking in, right? You get all of the picks, but go ahead.
Well, I want to get Shane's thoughts on this because I've actually seen it backfire on people where they go too far in. We did a startup this year, Ray and I, where, no joke, the guy in the next 2 years probably ended up with 45 of the draft picks over the next 2 years.
How many?
We're talking like
first, I'm curious.
16 firsts, but and it's a 14 team start 12 best ball, no players, best players like Malik Willis. And everybody else, here's the thing, and this is where I think it backfired. We'll see how it plays out. It's just a startup that we just did this year, so who knows for sure. Here's where I think it backfires. Because he went so deep into this strategy from the get-go, you have 9 or 10 teams that are built in a 1 to 2 year window. Like, legitimately would have no interest in trading for those draft picks unless it was to sell off DeAndre Hopkins or, and they're players that he's never going to want to buy. So he's always going to be higher on those picks for the next 2 years than any of the buyers. So really, he's just gone so deep. He's eliminated his own market. And now it's like, dude, he has to make all those picks, and he's going to run into a roster crunch. He's going to run into a problem moving some of those picks. And if people freeze him out on the picks, he's going to piss away a lot of that value just because he killed his own trade market by being the only one that has the asset.
Yeah, my only concern is I love picks, but I need to attach them a lot of times to something, right? That's how I make them more valuable, is they're attached to something. When it's just this pick, it's like this ethereal like thing that's not attached. It's like a soul without a body. No one wants it. You got to have a body attached to it so that it's more alive or something like that. I don't know.
What was the word you use? Did you say it
Ethereal.
properly?
Ethereal? Yes.
Is it ethereal or is it ethereal?
Is
it ethereal?
Listen, I'm going to say...
I'll go with it. I mean,
and I'm going to
normally,
stop
like,
saying process over
off,
players.
but-
It's process over players.
Process.
We're going to say,
gosh.
we're saying it the British way.
Yeah, and if we start, promoting underdog and reading advertisements, that's what my dad says. Like, no, I don't care if it's advertisements, advertisements. Inbox offer. We got to go to this one. I said I was going to find a non-super, but inbox offer in all caps got me. 1 of 2. Jackie, thank you. Give Najee, Akers, Evans, Waller, get Luke Musgrave a 24 first and second and a 25 first and second. Rebuilding orphan. Only other assets are Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, Alexander Madison, Tank Bigsby. And he says he counts now. Ayuk, Christian Watson. Second part is I have all of my own picks plus a few extra seconds and thirds in 24 and in 25. It's a 10-team start 10 Superflex PPR with a 1.5 tight end premium, 6 point per passing touchdown. Okay. So back to the offer. Give Najee, Akers, Evans, Waller, get Luke Musgrave, 24 first and second, and 25 first and second. And Jackie is rebuilding.
I hate making like deals where I'm giving up all my assets in one fell swoop. But I don't see any other way you get 2 firsts for Najee, Akers, Evans, and Waller, no matter how you do the math. Because if I try to do them separately, sure, Najee could probably get me a 25 first by himself. But is there any world where even if I gave someone Akers, Evans, and Waller, they would give me a 24 first for those 3? Not that I know of. So generally, I say I wouldn't do this, but I'm actually okay with this.
So here's the benefit. It's a 10 team. You're getting 2 seconds. Makes them a little more valuable, right? Makes the filler players, like the guys like Evans and Akers in a 10 team start 10, like they're probably never worth first. So you could almost say I'm liquidating both those guys for a second, right? Then you're getting essentially Musgrave and a first for Darren Waller in a half PPR, 0.5 PPR tight end premium format. Like I'm okay taking that as well. Najee for a first. I mean, you go tit for tat. I think this is a fair deal, but I actually think the extrinsic benefit is this will gut the points on your roster as well. Yeah, this is pushing your second to 201, your first to 101. So you're basically moving up like 2 spots, 3 spots in both rounds just by making this trade. This is actually a dream trade for a rebuilder because like I could say, Shane, I'm going to take away those 2 seconds. Would you still do it?
Well, yeah, because I'm getting the first.
But that would be the okay. You're kind of bending me over a little bit, right? Like you're not willing to throw in those seconds, and that's just because you know I have no other suitors.
Right.
So here you're actually getting 5 assets for 4, and it's helping you in terms of the direction you want to go. So I think you got to take it. If I'm a contender, I cut out a first in that deal, and I see how the person responds. And if they really counter for it, I may consider it, but I don't go that heavy in the paint on the first offer. Otherwise, it's smash accepted. Good job, Jackie Moon.
Yeah, like Jackie's saying, definitely the goal to stank. And that's one of those things that we talk about is if you're going to do it early so you can be the worstest, the soonest.
There you go. So John got into the chat, and it looks like we had another one from like 10:46 a.m. or something. I think I set this up yesterday, but somebody got in here mad early. We'll get that one up too. John got in at 5:41 p.m. today with an inbox trade, so let's address it. 12-team Superflex PPR, 1.5 for tight ends. I'm sorry, 1.5 PPR for running backs, 2 for tight ends. It's a 0.1 point per carry, start 11. Give Rachaad White and Sam Laporta, get Breece Hall.
Dude, I know it's start 11, and I know we don't want to invest in running backs, but I'm giving up Rachaad White and fucking Sam Laporta. Like
2.0.
It's 2 tight ends, 2 tight end premium. Is it 2 tight ends?
2.0. No, 2.0.
Oh, well, that makes it still. I don't give a fuck. Give me Breece Hall.
Yeah, I think the math on this would be like this is a pretty strong bet on Breece Hall, but what have we talked about in our leverage trading up video that we did a couple weeks ago, Shane? Sometimes this deal doesn't look like super comfortable because you don't feel like you're getting the leverage. You're giving away the 2 starters, maybe a little worried about Breece Hall early on. Like 2 weeks into the season, if Rachaad White is good and Breece Hall's not 100%, you're going to be going, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that deal. But if Breece Hall is good and his value bounces back, you've now bought an asset for 2 peripheral players. Now you have an asset going into year 3 where you're like, I can basically go play ball in any course. You know what I mean? I can go to any team and I have an asset that I can move for something legit versus just having Sam Laporta and Rachaad White. So I'm okay doing that. Good job. Good trade.
Hater maker money. Thank you very much for the super chat. This is cool. Process over players has changed my vision. It's like the money ball of dynasty leagues. Appreciate the knowledge. My last super chat, Shane gave me the number for Gamblers Anonymous when I asked about giving a second for Howell. Do you recall this, Shane?
No. Well, real quick, let's hit this.
It sounds like you.
Would you give up a second for Hal?
Yeah,
Let's say it's your
man.
own second. It's your own second. Well, I know you would because you're a stupid Washington fan. Let's get the cold impartial machine. Would you trade a second for Sam Howell? 12 team, start 10. You've got Desmond Ridder and Josh Allen.
So I don't think it's about who I already have. I think it is about, and this is something that I've learned to try to be a little better on, is just forecasting the outcomes, right? Would I give a second for Sam Howell in a vacuum? Do I say that's where I want to use my second right now? Not necessarily. But I've also seen there's some steam for Sam Howell. If he's good, there's going to be people that come out of the woodwork and it's going to be, I told you so. Told you he's more mobile. I told you he has multiple years as a starter. And that's all I need to turn it into 2 seconds, a second for a first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think with certain players, I would say no, because I'm buying into an asset that I think is just a fledgling value no matter what happens. For Sam Howell, though, like I do think there's a window where there's a lot of believers that are just going to ignore all the factors that go with his profile. If he flashes, if he's good, I think there's a window where I can sell even higher. So I'd take some strategic shots. Maybe not every league, but a couple.
Yeah, his value was got a little bit of insulation when Terry McLaurin, they found out it was just turf toe, right? Because Sam Howell would have gone down big time had it been a significant injury for Terry McLaurin. That's how sensitive his value is, I'd say. You know, it could easily go up, easily go down. What's this right here, Shane?
I didn't show that.
I showed it. Mamba, settle down, buddy. We didn't miss your super chat. It's in there. We'll get to it. We got a lot
Kobe, man. Mamba mentality.
I got it.
Do this.
Got it. Okay.
We got you. Promise.
Okay. Let's go to this one. Let's go to this one right here. John Calcaterra. Thank you for the super chat.
Josh, Grant's little cousin.
I'm going to build a relationship with him and see if he'll be cool with me calling him John. I was listening to an episode the other day and I said, Cleasy Monster Sniper. That was good. Caught myself there. Okay. 12 teams, start 9, Superflex, PPR, no tight end premium. What's the value of DK Metcalf? Says have DK, Garrett Wilson, Olave, Cheetah, JMO. He says he's a truther. In parentheses there. Lockett and a 25 first. MT and a 24 first. That type of deal is what I'm thinking. I have no 24 draft capital, only 25 and 26. So again, he's asking the value of DK and a 12-team Superflex start 9, and is Lockett at 25 first good? Michael Thomas and a 24 first. What do you think?
You know what sucks is that the the Lockett and the 24 first, I would absolutely smash that.
25. But you're saying if it was
no. If it was Lockett in the 24 first, I wouldn't even think about twice. But I'm fine taking Lockett in the 25 first, to be perfectly frank with you.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think that's very correlative a bet, right? Because you're both probably valuing Lockett and DK a little higher with the JSN injury. If you can get 24 first and Lockett for Metcalf, you're kind of doubling down on your bet, right? You're trading away Metcalf, You're getting back Lockett, and you're getting the leverage back of the insurance of the first. I'd counter with the 24 first and Lockett. And if that person is really willing to make that deal, I'll go heads up this year, Lockett versus DK, and I'll bank the first if I'm wrong. I really love that trade. I would try that, especially with no 24 draft capital.
Dude,
it's a good time to shop DK if you can get this type of leverage.
I do like that you're trading DK for Lockett in the first, because if it does work out, then you get to talk so much shit like that was your plan. Like, oh, I knew you know what I mean? But honestly, any wide receiver in that range, like if you'd offer me Amari Cooper and a 25 first for him, I'd send you DK.
So Michael Thomas, is that too much risk in that range, Shane?
I don't even know.
He's nothing.
Dude, his hamstrings hurt again. Like, he can't walk. Like, and I'm not an injury doctor, in case anyone's wondering. There's no PT or DT or BT after my name.
You look like a doctor.
Well,
you kind of look like a doctor.
But yeah, there's none of those T's after my name. But yeah, he injured his hamstring again by walking. So I want no parts.
Scott, we'll go with you on this one from Marvin. Thank you for the super sticker. 10-team Superflex. Let's see. DK, Ridley, Dotson, JSN, Burks, Tony, good. I have Flowers too. What is this? I'm gonna start laughing. What do you think here?
He's
I
asking if
mean-
its wide receiver room is good.
He's
And
asking
team
if
section
he's
is
asking if he's in good shape with that wide receiver room.
Yeah.
Let's say it's a 10-team Superflex start 9.
No.
Okay.
No, he's not.
What?
He's not in
He's
good
not
shape.
good?
No.
Okay.
I mean, he has probably 2 or 3 that are probably starter range, and the rest are. Means I'll give Zay Flowers the benefit of the doubt. You could maybe give Treylon Burks, Jahan Dotson. Listen, what I would do is I'm not betting on Jahan Dotson, Treylon Burks, Zay Flowers, all of them to hit. So I'm fine liquidating 1 or 2, especially if you can go to a team and say, "Hey, I don't think you're a good dynasty manager, Shane. Which one do you want? I will give you the choice of all 3: Treylon Burks, Jahan Dotson, and Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers.
But you give me your first next year. You finished bottom 2 in the league the last 5 years. You give me your first. I'll throw you Kadarius Toney as well. You want to do that?
Ooh, Kadarius Toney. No, not a chance in hell.
Okay, that's the type of deal you try to make. Go to the bad teams and see if they're willing to buy, and you give them a choice. There you go.
Okay, let's go to this one right here. Oh, I can unstar that one. By the way,
once you do them, you can unstar them.
Yeah, thanks, Shane. Sam says my wife is from South Africa and it is processed there.
It is processed.
There you go.
That's how the British say it too. They say processed.
How do you know all this? There's no way you've traveled over there.
No
way in hell. TV.
I watch television. I've watched EastEnders and Benny Hill.
Okay, so let's go to blind here. Good to see you, man. Thanks for the super chat. 10-team 1 QB start 8 redraft keeper league. Hurts in the 4th or Olave in the 9th as your keeper. It's got JJ, Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Waddle, Garrett Wilson, and Burrow as keepers for other teams. Drafting from the 4th spot also.
Ooh, okay. So you're going to have essentially 4 of the top, 5 players off the board, and you have the 5th with Hurts. I know it's a start 8 redraft 10-team 1 QB, but I think the positional advantage, I would say, is probably more valuable with Hurts in the 4th than Olave in the 9th. Unless your league just doesn't value QBs and they're going to let you get like Justin Fields in the 2nd or something like that, then I'd be willing to do it. That's where I'd bite the bullet on Olave. But I'm guessing the warp, if you run it with the QBs here, it's like if you get a top 2 or 3 QB, it's worth it versus when you get to QB 7 or 8, it doesn't even matter. So I'm leaning Hurts.
If I can get Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields in the 2nd round, and you'll know, I would believe blind would know. If I can do that, I'm keeping Olave. But otherwise, like you said, I'm just going to hold on to Hurts and take that 25 points a week.
My only fear is that, Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow are already gone. So if they value QBs, you're probably looking at having to spend damn near your first rounder to get one of those guys. Like, ask yourself this question. If you do not keep Jalen Hurts, will he be there at your 2nd round pick? If the answer is no, will he be there at your 4th overall pick? And if the answer is yes, then you have to make a decision, right? Like, I don't know. I think I'd lean Hurts. Clay, what do you think?
Definitely hurts. Because it's so shallow. There's going to be a lot of good players later on. Not Olave, but Hurts. It just seems like such a positional advantage and something this.
Well, here's the thing, though: the elite wide receivers, which is what I think Olave is going to be, aren't as prevalent as you think they are either. I did a bunch. I just went through the last. I went through the last 3 years, and it is. It's
not looking good. All systems go for Olave, Shane.
It's no, but I'm just saying, looking at elite receiver scoring, like I thought it was a lot high. There was a lot more higher scoring players than there were. There's really not. But again, then you're banking on, is Chris Olave going to be that? And can I get Richardson or Fields in the 2nd round? If I can get either of them in the 2nd round, I'm fucking smashing it, and I'll hold on to Olave in the 9th. But blind, you got to know your board in your room.
Yeah, that's good stuff there. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Let's go to, I'm trying to find a non 19 parter. Let's go to Matt Gorte. He can correct us in the chat just like Vapad did the other day, so we can say it properly. It's the funny. That's the funniest. That's the funniest part of that show too. I've got a timestamp for that one. Great TikTok. 12 team, 1 QB, start 8, half PPR. Have T Law, Gino, Bijan, Brees, Rashad White, Dalvin Cook, Scary Terry, Watson, Jacoby Myers, Elijah Moore, Goddard, and Chig. Going Bijan 101, but also have the 102. Do I go JSN or Gibbs? I'm competing this year.
Start 8, half PPR. So no one's going to like this, right? I'm concerned about JSN's hand injury because he's going to miss 3 to 6 weeks. Because what happens to rookie wide receivers that don't hit? And what happens to wide receivers when they don't start off the season? Rookies that don't start off the season as part of the starting quartet, tritet, triplets, whatever, threesome. I'm concerned enough about it that I'm just going to go Gibbs. Yep,
Yeah.
I got to go.
You lean the format here, and I know your receivers are definitely looking scary with Terry McLaurin's injury, your wide receiver 1 being Christian Watson, and then your other 2 probably outside of mattering range here. But the idea of having, I mean, I don't even know if I consider Trevor Lawrence a positional advantage, but I mean, just having Brees Hall, Bijan, and Jahmyr gives you so much more flexibility to move Brees or Bijan if you wanted. But half PPR, I think with JSN's injury, I think it's very easy. You just take the 2 best players in the format and you just bank that it'll work out a little bit later. I agree with Shane.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mark. Appreciate that. Okay, let's keep on partying here. Shane, I mean, they know where you are on a Tuesday night. Why are they even putting their sirens on?
I know,
They
like
can
at this point,
break
just
through
knock
your
on the
fucking
door.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to oh man, look at this name. Look at this name. I love it. Is it
Shane?
Zhao?
Pronounce this one, Shane.
Go ahead, Shane.
It's Joa Vitar Marashare.
Wait. How do you read Marashara at the
I
end?
think he nailed the first 2, honestly. Then the last part I'm questioning.
Marashare. Marashower.
Okay.
Yeah. It's French.
Marchiori. I don't know. Thank you for the super chat. We're going to call him JVM. Thank you very much. Part 1 of 2. 12 teams, start 11, Superflex, half PPR. Finishing the startup draft with Pat Mahomes, Watson, Brees Hall, Josh Jacobs, Addison, Dotson, Rashad White, Dio John. The second part is Sky Moore, Tajay Spears, Gainwell, and later rounder running backs. I'm aiming for a wide receiver dart throw now. What do you say? Any recommendations? So let's go back up to his settings. 12 team, start 11, Superflex, half PPR. So I know we don't like to pick players, right? Exact player names, but he's later rounds looking for dart throws at wide receiver. I mean, what are some names we hear? What's his name from Buffalo? We also hear
Kyler Shakur, Tupac.
No, Khalil Shakir.
Yeah, no.
I'm just gonna say this: you don't want to draft receivers here. You're not when you're in round 18 of a startup and you're going, hey, what receivers can I find? You're just drafting yourself cloggers. Unless you think your league will overvalue them if they do something, don't fall for it. Continue to draft those running backs. I know you think you're a little short on receivers in this league with Addison, Dotson, and Deontay. I think that's all he has, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and Sky Moore is his wide receiver 4. I mean, yeah, you're short on receivers, but dude, you got Brees Hall, Pat Mahomes, Watson. I'm just taking running backs, or I'm trading these picks for future picks. I'm not trying to hit on day 3 receivers or wide receiver 77 that becomes wide receiver 50.
Right. And the squirt startup that we're doing, we're in round like 16, 17, whatever, one of those rounds. And it's the same thing. Like I definitely went light at wide receiver, but I just still keep drafting running backs because, you know, those guys have a shot where I'm looking at the wide receivers on the board. Tyler Boyd, Adam Thielen, Keyshawn Boutte, Zay Jones. Like there's nothing there for me. Like I'll never be able to even flip these guys if they do pop off one week.
The only thing I'll say is with a guy like Keyshawn Boutte, that would be the type of receiver I would draft because there might be a
lottery ticket.
A sucker that gives me a second for him when he's not worth anything but a third. Like that's the only logic. Don't draft Adam Thielen. He's stuck. He's on your team. He's useless. As soon as you pick him, he's useless. So only draft with a plan.
Hey, Roman Lesage. I pronounced that correctly.
Mhm.
DTM5 loves all that you do as well. And we appreciate everyone that watches our show because you make us happy inside.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And he actually had he was the first comment here. I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Let me see if we can answer this. Again, this was 10:37 a.m. 12 team, 2 QB, PPR, 2 tight ends. Whew, man, what a format there. Start 10. Herbert to Anthony Richardson, Kyler, Lance, Purdy. Okay, so there's a little bit of hoarding action going on. Rashad White, Charbonnet, Marquise Brown, QJ, Dotson, Dulcich, McBride, Irv, Musgrave, Otten, and Ferguson. New league may hold me out of QBs. May hold me out if QBs don't get hurt.
There's
Okay.
part 2 to this, maybe.
Oh, nice. Tried to trade Kyler for Mandrews. Owner took a worse deal. What do I do to make them see the value in QBs?
Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do to make someone see something other than point out the scores every week. Hey, did you see? I didn't even remember the list of your quarterbacks because it's already off the screen, so there's no way I remember it. But yeah, I mean, just literally point it out in the chat every week. Like, hey, did you see so-and-so on my bench dropping 30 points, whatever, every big week?
It's got good ones.
Say it's Herbert, A-Rich, Kyler, Tua. The problem is you kept going and drafted Trey Lance and Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of wondering, like, all right, one of those two is the sunk asset this year. We'll see who it is, probably Lance. The other problem is there's a chance next year both are a sunk asset and you held them for no reason. So those would be the two I'd be willing to take. What do we talk about at the beginning of the show? Those are the two I'd be willing to package or trade separately for something that helps me. I feel very confident about the other 4, which still kind of executes the quarterback hoard that you intended. You just went too far with Lance and Purdy. And now you're going, man, I want to trade Lance and Purdy. And people go, I don't want those guys. Yeah.
You're
so
like,
take the loss by trading the 2 Niners if you can. I would say move them for what something helps you.
Yeah, that's what I found. When I hoard QBs, like lower level QBs like that, I find myself having to sell that player to the other league mate, being like, hey, normally I would require a QB in return in a super flex, but here I have the flexibility to give you one. You're just freaking dropping your drawers. Like, please take this guy for full value above startup value.
Well, here's what happens. As the season goes on, the number of teams that would be willing to buy out of desperation reduces, right? So now all of a sudden might be 11 teams that go, hey, I could use a third quarterback. Because I'm sure there's teams that only have 1, maybe 2, and it's a 2 QB. So there's some hurting teams.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's probably 2 or 3 teams that go, well, he hoarded all the quarterbacks. My quarterbacks are shitty. I'm just going to tank. By week 7, they have no interest in trading for the Ryan Tannehill or the Derek Carr of the world. So now the market, instead of being 7 teams that might trade for 1, there's 2. And so now your bottom ones have expired and you're stuck with them to the offseason. So you have to time it right if you're going to hoard. So that's why I said get out of those Niners guys now.
Like it. Mitchell, thank you very much for the super chat. Can I get an opinion on this trade, please? 16-team Superflex Dynasty. Ayuk for Khalil Shakir and Howell. Guy sending Howell isn't competing this year. Do we have a part 2 there from Mitchell?
No, that looks like it's a trade. 16-team Superflex Dynasty. Ayuk for Khalil Shakir and Howell.
I guess I was hoping to find more information. So let's say it's 16-team Superflex. Let's say it's start 9 PPR.
Man. Shane, would you give? I mean, this isn't terribly expensive for a QB shot in a 16-teamer, is it? I mean,
Ayuk? No, I mean, I would hope to do a little better. I'd rather. I couldn't have gotten Kenny Pickett. You know what I mean? Like, I think I could get at least Kenny Pickett for Brandon Ayuk, right?
Here we go. Second super chat with better formatting. Thank you, Mitchell. Appreciate it, man. 16-team Superflex start 8 PPR with huge RB scoring. Have Anthony Richardson. Okay, this is the same team though, right? Yeah. Have Anthony Richardson, Saquon, ETN, AJ Brown, Keenan Allen, Miles Sanders, Ayuk. Need a QB and was offered Ayuk for Howell and Shakir. Thanks for breaking that down, man. It's perfect.
I mean, my concern in a start 8, if you don't have a second QB and you're relying on just Anthony Richardson, you're kind of wasting a year of Keenan Allen, Miles Sanders, Travis Etienne if you don't have a second QB. I don't love the deal, but I also Doesn't it feel like you're wasting a year with those guys, a lot of your guys in their prime, if you're just struggling at QB? And if you're taking basically damn near zeros at QB, possibly a couple weeks with Richardson too, like that's 2 of 8 spots where I just have nothing. I'm starting a player off my bench, a wide receiver 4 in my super flex spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, is this the best you can do? Can you add Ayuk in a second and get a better QB? Something like that.
And that's my point. Like trading for Sam Howell, it's just, it's not good. It's really not. Like that's settling. that's really settling. Like that's no, we don't want to do that. That's like, oh, she's got a nice personality. No, don't do that. Like you don't have to settle. You can do better. Believe in yourself.
And you can do better too than that. Oh, she has a nice personality. You normally run with those, man. Yeah. All right. Let's all do better. Let's all do better. We've got 318 folks in here. We've got let's see. Yep, Mr. Padilla's mom. Just making sure. We've got I think Dad's probably in here. Thank you very much for joining. Hit that like if you wouldn't mind. Okay. So yeah, we've gotten hammered by some super chats here that we're gonna have to go through.
Like
and
8-parters. Like does everyone hate us? Have they ever seen us read?
Yeah, right. It's always a risk. Everything is a trap. All right. Sean Salka, thank you for the super chat. 12 teams, start 9, half PPR has Watson, Lamar, Derek Carr, Bijan, Gibbs, Henry, Chubb, Roshan, NERB on a 53, Kupp, Hill, Olave, Burks, Diojon, DPJ, Kelsey, and Joku. Pick 103 to 105. A 24 first, a couple thirds, and 25. 24 and 25 picks, other picks. How to solidify?
So wait, how does he have? He has the 103
to 105, 103, 4, and 5.
But how does he have Bijan, Gibbs, and those picks?
24. He's saying he has those to 24 first.
I mean, listen, dude, your team's ridiculous. Like, it's a start 9. You have 12 deep along with Kupp, 5 first. I mean, I guess you could package like literally the shitty players like DPJ or Njoku or Roshan Johnson for upgrades. But I mean, where are you upgrading here, Shane? Watson to Hurts? I mean,
can I upgrade Burks and Deontay and 3 firsts and go get Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase? Honestly, that's what you're doing. I mean, and then you still have, I don't know, a bunch of other firsts. Like, just do that. Like, you're already solid as fuck. Really, there's not much more you can do here.
I mean, consolidate, upgrade, sure. Right? Where go to the best players in the league and try to get them and ask for what the price is.
You could add a first to Watson and see how far that gets you up the board. You can add a first to Kupp and see if that gets you Jefferson or Chase, or 2 firsts.
Yeah, and you have the ability with all those assets to like start with like a fairly strong offer to the other person because you're just trying to gauge if there's even a possibility of something going down, being able to consolidate and tear up. Okay, so thank you for that one. Let's go to Tristan here. Scott, we'll go with you on this one. 2 questions tonight. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Tristan. 12 teams, start 10, Superflex PPR with a 0.5 additional tight end premium. So 1.5 for tight ends, 6 point per passing touchdown. I have 324 firsts, and my QBs are Herbert, Anthony Richardson, Kyler, and Lance. Trade Herbert for 3 more 24 firsts, mid to late. And is that the third part? Oops, I did too much scrolling. It's a redraft auction. Okay. Is this a whole separate thing here? Yeah, this is the whole second question. Okay. So should he trade Herbert for 3 more 24 firsts, mid to late? QBs are Anthony Richardson, Herbert, Kyler, and Lance.
I'm not trading Herbert in a 6 point per passing touchdown league in a start 10. I get it, but I'm not trading Herbert. I'm just rolling with I'd actually try to sell Trey Lance for something that helps me kick the future value somewhere else. But yeah, I'm not moving Herbert.
So redraft auction, 12 teams, start 10, 5 bench, Superflex PPR with 1.5 at tight end, 6 point per passing touchdown. Spent $149 of my $200 on Kupp, Josh Allen, and Mahomes. Did I overpay?
I mean, if you can fill out the rest of your lineup, it is a start 10. I don't think you did. I bet if you ran the roster construction or the warp graph on this, you'd be like, damn, Allen, Mahomes, Kupp. I mean, you're just taking replacement level everywhere else, but I don't hate it in a redraft. 15-man rosters, there's going to be tons of points that leak to waivers that other people are going to add and drop, and you're going to have a bunch of shitty players that you're going to be able to move in and out. So I'm fine with it. I like it.
Yep. All right, let's keep on rolling here. Let me unstar. Let's go to Kyle Balzana. Thank you for the super chat. 1 of 2. 10-team Superflex, start 10, half PPR with a 0.2 point per carry, 1.5 for tight ends. Quarterbacks are T-Law, Anthony Richardson, Love. Running backs, JT, Dalvin Cook, McKinnon, Charbonnet. Wide receivers, Jefferson, Olave, Terry, and Josh Downs. Tight ends, Kincaid, Schultz, McBride. Had 2 24 firsts and 2 24 seconds. Just traded Dobbins for a 24 first. It's now his third 24 first and a third. Thanks for the Twitter help, he says. What are my next steps? Stay put for the draft or cash in? Hammer, hand green, crystal ball. I guess that's an orb. Okay. So what do you think here? Obviously, that's a smash, trading Dobbins for a 24 first and a third.
Yeah, let me go see the rest of the team.
Yeah.
The first of it. So it's 12 teams, start 10. 10 teams, start 10 exactly. Quarterbacks are fine. This might be one of those. I mean, your wide receivers are absolutely fucking. You got Jetta and Olave. I mean, sure. Can I add a first to Terry and see if I can do better, do more good, get one more wide receiver? It's only half PPR. Never mind. Let me just sit tight. 2-point PPC
and a 0.20 PPC. Yeah.
But you got JT, you got Cook. I mean, I think this is, I hate doing this. This is one of those where I'm going to let the start of the season kind of dictate how I'm going to play it going forward.
I can see why he traded Dobbins for a first, because I bet you this league values running backs like that.
Yeah.
The good thing is you turned him into a first and you waited to see who the next Dobbins might actually be during the season. And now you have 3 firsts. So I'm with Shane, like, wait it out. Could probably stay above water with what you have. And then,
yeah,
you know what? Strike if you want to move a pick or 2 in the season to buy a running back. That works.
Yep. Okay. Let's keep going here. And okay. Noah, here's the guy who looks like what's his name? Fucking funny guy. Messed that up. How has your draft order changed since the last mock?
Rookie draft?
Yeah, it's funny. I got a rookie draft question from Paco today asking where Hull is going to end up in the second round. I was like, man, I'm so far removed from that. But Paul Rudd asks, how has your draft order changed since the last mock? Scott, Shane, what do you think, man?
I haven't done any rookie mocks. I don't know. I mean, on startup, so I just drafted Evan Hall in the 15th round. So there's
1501, yeah. Deuce Vaughn, Hull.
I went, Scott, you'll be proud of me.
I
did the thing where everyone else likes these players. I'm just gonna fucking draft them and see what happens. So yeah, I mean, I'd move up Deuce Vaughn, who I liked last year. It was just that he was so tiny, and I'd move up Evan Hall. I'd move up all the hotness, even Puka Nacua, because then as soon as they do anything, I'm looking to move them. Tank Dell, all those guys would have moved up a little for me.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, we didn't quite answer that. I guess it's kind of tough, but look at what the league likes. And like Shane said, he brought up some sexy names there. Just try to get anybody who has the chance to bump in value. All right, let's go to Husker Chaz. I haven't seen his avatar before. Maybe a new sub. Either way, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. In a 10-team start 10 Superflex, 1.5 for tight ends. In a full rebuild, my very first Dynasty League. Congrats, man. Welcome. It's a disease that spreads rapidly. Traded Kupp and Stafford for a 24 second, 25 first, and Tank Bigsby. His team is good, but super old. Good trade. Now I have 4 24 firsts and 2 25 firsts. Do you think that's enough of a haul for Cooper Kupp? I mean, he's in a full rebuild, so probably just wants to get those freaking lot of points off his team. But is that enough? What do you think?
I mean, it's a 10-team start 10, so probably Kupp is worth a first at least. But, You were able to maneuver getting a second. Again, it's a 10 team, so the second holds a little bit more weight. And they threw in Tank Bigsby. This is probably one of those, this is the best you're going to get. Someone actually sends you a first and a second and a player that you might be able to flip for more than Matt Stafford or close to it here in a month or two. I mean, it is a 10-teamer, so Stafford almost has no value. So, yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the practicality of it. Would you lose this trade on a Dynasty trade calculator? Probably, but that also doesn't take into account real world activities. That's why humans will always beat AI, because we can do things like take context of our league and go, well, no one else would ever do this. There's no way I would ever be able to do better than this. It feels light, but his team is super old too. So what's great about that is you might have traded him a Kupp that is one hamstring away from being dust, and a Stafford that's one more back injury away from being dust.
Well, what if Stafford gets hurt and he destroys Kupp? Is the window to ever do this again gone?
Yeah.
100%.
So that's why you take it. You're like, man, I could hold out for more, but I could easily go to 0 instead of getting 90% right now. So exactly. In a rebuild, I think that has to put you over the top to accept it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I like that move too. Even in a rebuild, getting a Tank Bigsby again, like a player that could spike and then you could trade. I don't know. I'm a fan of that move these days. Is collecting RBs even in a rebuild if I can get them cheap enough. Okay. So Simon Joseph says, I did it wrong. Got Lamar, Deshaun, Russ, Mac Jones, Tannehill. My depth isn't in demand. I love that. Russ for a 26 first, target an old team, rely on higher midseason demand. I mean, are you just first?
I'm selling Russ for a 26 first, and I don't even care about 26. I'm not even targeting a team. You know why? I have no fucking idea what's going to happen in 25. There's no way I'm future casting that roster. So yeah, I would do it. I don't love it again. I'd prefer a 25, but this feels like a sleeper league, and I'm going to just do what I can to get out on Russ's crusty ass.
I had one where I had Russ as my QB4. I had Hurts, Herbert, and Richardson, and I'm just sitting there on Russ, and it's a market where I can tell the league does not value QBs, and I got offered a 25 first. So I was like, would I prefer 25? Yeah, but I'm kind of with Shane. Like, who were his – that was almost the exact, like, risky QB hoard room that we talked about at the beginning. Yeah. Tannehill and Mac Jones and Russ. Like, that could be 5 QBs to 2 QBs in, like, 9 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, take the
I think
first.
Lamar and Watson too, or something like that. But yeah, then hoarded some stuff like that. Bijan Orbinson tuned in earlier. He said, "Just tuning in, 10K subs." Yes, thank you very much, man. It was a cool moment seeing it breach 10,000, and now it's like 10,042 or something. And
oh shit,
it only felt awesome and all for a very short period of time, honestly. And then it's like, let's keep fucking going. What's the next number?
Real quick though, I have to thank you for telling me to actually savor the moment, because I immediately I went 10K, and then I'm like, yeah, we need 15 now, and you're like, bro, just fucking be happy with something to celebrate. You jerk off.
Celebrate the victories.
Shane's the guy you wish him happy birthday, and he's just like, man, next year.
He's like, meh.
My birthday next year, I'm excited for. You know what I mean? It's like you wait for it to happen, and then it gets here, and it's like depressing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you do a life audit on your birthday, a big old macro life audit. Well, Shane does that every morning in front of Dunkin' Donuts while he's smoking a cigarette. Okay. Simple Man, thank you for the super chat. 12 team Superflex, 1.5 for tight ends, start 10, best ball dynasty, startup draft just finished. Guy offered his Burrow 24 second, 25 second Freiermuth for his Mark Andrews, Quentin Johnston, 24 first and 25 first. I have Hurts and Love at QB, new to best ball dynasty. Is this a good move? You can tell this is kind of a sharp league just by looking at how the trade is constructed.
It's very close. This is one where in best ball, I actually could get behind it because you're getting Freiermuth the second and the second. And now you're rolling out Hurts, Burrow, and Love, which is an awesome QB room in best ball. But I can also see the other side. Like if they lack players and they're getting a quarterback, or at least something they can turn into a quarterback back with the first year, You know what? I'm going to take the Burrow side because this is best ball. I'm going to be able to fill those slots with at least 3 players. I'm okay giving up the Andrews and the 2 first. I'll take the Burrow side.
Agree, Shane? It looks like you nodded when Scott said that.
It's best ball, so I generally defer to whatever the fuck Scott said. I mean, check out our dudes at 4D Chess too. They talk about best ball. I don't know. I'm going to play in a best ball league this year because Scott and Clay are making me.
Yeah, we got to start that. It's a listener league, the Orb League. So got some invites coming out.
Clay, doesn't this feel like a trade that you're a little squeamish to give up this much, but it also feels like, man, this could be one of the opportunities where an elite QB is available and someone's willing to sell it for pieces. And they're giving me, Freiermuth to Andrews, okay, but it's best ball. The second and the second for the first and the first, yeah, but it's best ball. I can buy a Mike Williams, a Tyler Lockett. You know what I mean? Like I can get by. And there may not be another QB available like this. So I think that's why you take it, even in best ball. I think if it's a 4 for 4, I'm getting the
exactly.
Player,
you're getting 4 pieces. You're getting the 4 pieces and Burrow. So I agree. I'm no best ball stud either, but the fact that it's a 4 for 4 makes it more palatable. Okay, so let's do Greg's here. Thank you for the super chat, Greg. It's got a cat. Scott, what kind of cat is that? What kind of breed are we looking at?
It's a tabby.
That's a tabby?
Looks like it's an orange cat.
That's not a breed.
That's a thing?
That's a color.
No, it's a color. I don't know exactly what
it's a tabby.
But it's
definitely a tabby. Greg, hit us up. Tell them that I'm right.
Let us know if it's an orange cat or a tabby. All right.
It's orange.
All right. So thanks for the super chat. 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR. I traded JSN and Jahan Dotson for CeeDee Lamb today. Good value for unloading JSN, or did I sell too soon? Also, how accurately should I take Dynasty Daddy's label frisky, contender?
We just talked about this earlier in the DD Heisman Discord about, okay, what do you have to add to JSN to go upwards? And he definitely went upwards here, Shane. He got from wide receiver, 11, 12 JSN to wide receiver 3 or 4 with CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
And you paid, can you get a first for Jahan Dotson? Maybe with McLaurin's injury, like maybe a 25 first potentially. Like you paid a tax, but I don't hate it. If I can go up and I'm buying away some of the injury risk on JSN, I'm okay with it. But I could also see trying to go the other way on JSN. I just don't know if you can right now, given his injury. So I'm okay with doing it, honestly.
I mean, it's start 10. I'm fine with doing it, but that's also, I'm not particularly high on Jahan Dotson. I think he's heavily in, what's the word I'm looking for? Going to regress with touchdowns this year. I think he'll be fine. I just think at best he's back end wide receiver 2. I don't know what JSN is. I like JSN. But I'm fine with doing this for CeeDee Lamb. If I was rebuilding, I'd also be fine with this return, which is
Yes, CD side for me all day. Okay, we'll hide Greg there. All right, Z Vogel. All right, you see, here's another one. Here's like the process thing. Thanks for your advice. So notice how advice is spelled there, ADVISE. Yeah. Liam up in Canada has some interesting spellings too. First Superflex league, 12 teams, start 9, PPR, 6 point per passing touchdown, and got Mahomes and Herbert in the startup. Nicely done. Still have my future picks and Howell now. There's another Howell. Is there another part here?
No, I think he was just bragging.
He was just bragging. Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd say starting off with Mahomes and Herbert is pretty good. Having your own future first, also very good. And you have a third quarterback. Sure. It's Howell's as good as any. I prefer Ritter, but me and Scott kind of talked about that on I don't know if it was a roster review or if it was on Dynasty and Chill. I don't even know anymore.
You talk every day, all day, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. So let's go to currently hoarding. No, I think I read this one from Rockstar. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to Noah's here. Scott, we'll give you this one. 8-man, 1 QB, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, 3 flexes in the super flex. So start 12. Half PPR, 4 point per passing touchdown, RB lead warp, ETN for the 105 and 107. I have the 103, 106, 202 to 204, Lawrence, Gino, CMC, ETN, Javante, Pacheco, Kupp, and Booty wide receivers. He has the 104, 105, 107, 108. I want Anthony Richardson. He's a Colts fan, despite the warp. 3, Gibbs could get me Tyreek Hill and Mixon. Do I make the trade? Who do I draft? Sorry about the 3-parter and love the show. Paul Rudd. So it's
So
an
I'm trying-
8-man start 12. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure this out because he lists the 105 and the 107, but then he also lists. Okay, so is he saying the other team has the 104, 5, 7, 8,
Yes.
and he's willing
Yeah.
to give them both picks for ETN, and he wants to draft
Right.
Anthony Richardson with one of them?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I could get on board with doing it. You're going to have to get a little creative. I'm guessing the running backs are probably the market for them is just ridiculous. So, like, if you wanted to really buy a good running back, it's like 101, 102. So, you know what? I'm okay with it, though. If you just take, 2 best players available, one of them's Richardson, one of them's Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison, take a shot. I'm okay with it.
Passing touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay taking the
Yeah,
shot,
he's
and
just
especially
gonna
if you
get
can
it.
move like Trevor Lawrence for something else that can help you. Maybe I don't know. I'm okay doing it though.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Paul.
Hey,
Shane, sweet hat. Yep.
Soggy Danger 1, sweet hat. It is. It's a Dynasty and Trades and 5 dad hat that you can get at the Dynasty Trades merch store that Clay's going to put up the thing right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Right
it's the link is in the description. It says like merch is finally here. We have 57 plus products to choose from because of this show and the orbs that happen here and there. Lots of SKUs. So we got orbs, we have hammers, we got squirts, tons of different styles of hats and shirts. Take a peek. Again, the link is in the description. You could also go to Printify, Printify. Just type in Printify Dynasty Trades and 5. You'd find us there too. But yeah, check it out. We got some good stuff. And who knows if there's going to be any growing pains with the initial printers. We'll figure that out. But got a process over players shirt on right here. Got some dope shit. So take a peek. Obviously, it helps out the channel, helps out Shane. Lord knows he needs help over there. Oh, and so do I, because I don't work in medical sales anymore. Brilliant. Okay, Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. Shane, we're going with you on this one. 10-team, 1 QB, start 8. Mahomes, Bijan, JSN, Dotson, Christian Watson, Burks. 424 first, 325 first. How do you balance trying to
go for
Marvin Harrison Jr. and obvious need to buy hammers?
So the way he parses this is that I'm guessing one of those is an early pick at least, right? So the obvious thing is, well, go take the 2 ones that you think are late and try to get a hammer with those, and don't be afraid to use those 25 first. You have to, the way I look at it, I'd love to hold on the 224 first because you likely should have an idea of where they're going to be. I'd sell every one of those 25 first because I still have another season to get them back. So that gives me 5 firsts to play around with to get myself 2 hammers. And then still hold on to the early picks. But even though those are on the table, I mean, it's just what they'd be on the table for is it has to be an absolute fucking smash.
Yep. Okay.
Would you trade all of those receivers plus all your 25 picks if you could get all of the first round in 2024?
No.
You wouldn't?
I don't know. I know like 4 of the guys in the 2024 class so far.
But that would guarantee you any players that are good you get.
It would, but no.
Okay.
Because half the players aren't going to hit. And the ones that do hit are going to be wide receiver 3s, and we're going to count them as hits and be like, but it's a hit.
Okay, let's go back to the comments here to the start. God, I'm clicking all over the damn place. All right, speaking of hammer, thank you for the super chat, MJ Hammer 22,894. 1 of 4. Big thank you to Shane and Scott for feedback on Twitter. Yes, they definitely help the community out. Made a bunch of moves this offseason. Wondering what you guys think of the net result. So here we go. Sent KW3, Swift, Dalvin Cook, Mike Williams, Mike Evans, Jordan Love, a late 24 first, 201, a 24 third. Received Pitts, JSN, Anthony Richardson, 2 projected early 24 firsts, a second and a third. His team is now Lamar, Anthony Richardson, Bijan, Saquon, Madison, Chandler, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, T. Kirk, JSN, JMO Mechie, and Justin Ross. Pitch, Chig, Dulcich. Positive net result. Okay with the lack of depth. It's a 12-team start 9, 1 QB, half PPR, no tight end premium. Scott, what do you think here? It's tough to read the give and receive. I won't reread it. You can see it. So
Yeah, I mean, he gave up, let's see, Dalvin Cook, Mike Williams, Mike Evans, a late first, 201. I mean, none of those guys are worth a first. You threw in Jordan Love, you threw in DeAndre Swift, you threw in Kenneth Walker. You ended up with 3 top 15 dynasty assets plus 2 early firsts next year in a start 9. So you conned your league into making, I don't even know how many trades this was, like 4 or 5 total, but
yes, putting in work.
You conned your league into basically allowing you to consolidate like a 9 for 5, and you still have a very competitive team at the top with extra picks next year. So I'm totally good with it. Good job.
Dropping the MJ hammer. Okay, let me make sure I
and you probably did it like a knife through butter. Like no one realized you were doing all this consolidating until it was done, and they're like, holy shit, what did you do?
Yeah. Okay. So Joseph Adcock, thank you for the and look at the avatar too. What the hell is that thing? What if I told you I was buffalo chicken? Maybe it's like cut off. Thank you for the super
buffalo
chat.
With a chicken head, Clay.
Oh yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's awesome. 12-team Superflex, no tight end premium, start 10 in a startup right now. Was able to get Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson early. Rest of the team is Aaron Jones, B. Rob, Ayuk, Dotson, Dio John, Sky Moore, and Derek Carr. I was able to get. What's up?
Well, he has a part 2 to this.
Okay.
This is a new league, and he has 424 firsts and 225 firsts.
Okay, 424 and how many 25 you said?
2.
Okay. He said this was his first startup ever. So he's asking if he's on the right path.
Yeah, it's a 12-team start 10. I mean, this is almost exactly how we'd say this is what your team's going to look like when you trade back and you get 5 extra firsts and you still get Deshaun Watson and Josh Allen. I mean, yes. You have tons of flexibility. You can move Carr, you can move a couple firsts, you can move Sky Moore in a first for something better. I mean, you have tons of flexibility, and if it goes bad, oh well, you still got some pieces for next year. This is exactly how I would do it. Now, Shane, do you try to go the other way? Do you hedge on a couple of those first, or do you wait till midseason to see where you stand?
I mean, I already know midseason at best I'm going to be middling with Ayuk, Dotson, Deontay. I'm fine with moving some of those picks, but more because at that point I'll have an idea of where the picks are and which ones I want to move, as opposed to right now where it's just, look, I can look at teams like, let's just say we're in a hot sauce dynasty league with a friend of ours, Larry Monkey. I wouldn't trade his future first for anything in this world because it's obvious his team is absolutely terrible. But, if you're not sure, letting the season play out a little bit so you get a better idea of where these picks are going to land, so then you can decide which ones to move is fine.
Yeah, but this is good right here. It's always like interesting, like even reading his names. Nipplefucker 69. Oh, like a child when I read that. Nipplefucker 69. Thank you for the super chat. It says who day.
The Saints, baby.
Now remember, it's what's his face from the Cincinnati Bengals back in
Icky
1600 AD,
1686 when Icky Woods was doing the Icky shuffle.
It's Icky Woods, 1988. Who day back at you? Thank you.
And they blew it in the Super Bowl to the San Francisco 49ers as Joe Montana drove it down their throat to end the game.
Our buddy.
Every Super Bowl that I've watched. I've watched the last 2 Super Bowls they've blown, and one when I was 6 years old and one was 2 years ago. And it's probably never going to happen. So
at least you guys are getting in there. Okay. Jeremy from Dynasty Daddy says, keep crushing it, gang. Thank you. Same to you, my friend.
What do we do? Dynasty Daddy. Oh, roster reviews. Yeah. So we do roster reviews, Scott and I, and we utilize the tools over at Dynasty Daddy. And little known fact, they keep putting new tools in there. Actually, and he DM'd me last night, and I actually didn't get a chance to play with the new tool that he's working on, but it looked pretty cool for my phone. But yeah, hit up the roster reviews. Dynasty Daddy is the tool we use, man. We love that. I'm on it right now. Matter of fact, too. I'm sending trade offers during this stream.
Yeah, of course you are. Whatever. It's awesome though. Like that's Shane. Yeah, roster review at dynastytradesand5.com for more information on that. Send you the details, pricing, process. Of course, there's a process, right? Okay, let's go to that's like a stray part 2 there. Let's go to Trent Harrington. Yes, I see the 202. 10 team, thank you for the super chat. 10 team Superflex, start 12, tiered PPR, 2.0 for tight ends. Have Tua, Young, Bryce Young, Drake London, Ayuk, Pittman, Hollywood, Burks, Waller, 624 first, 425s, 5 seconds over the 2 years. How do you think I should move forward? Directions, options. Currently have an inbox offer for T-Law, Alec Pierce, and a 4th for 3 of the first. Maybe one of them will be early. Okay, so again, 624 first. And he has the option to get T-Law and Trash for 3 of those first. One of them may be early. So let's just say it's Drake May and 2 other firsts. You're getting T-Law.
My hesitation is it's a 10 team, and if he's going to sell me this now, what is going to change next year? Unless Trevor Lawrence just goes insane, right? Like, what is going to change next year? And honestly, I actually think the difference maker here is my team's bad. If I had Trevor Lawrence, it might hurt my own pick that I have, just like a spot or 2, which in a 10 team could be a big deal. I think I'm committing to the stank, as we like to call it here, and I'm actually going to turn down the T-Law share, even though I might not have another opportunity to buy him. I'm going to stick with the process I've already dug into instead of buying him and finishing 10th place or 8th place instead of 10th place. So I'm going to pass.
It's Tua and Bryce Young. Obviously not a sexy QB room, but it's not like it's total trash. I'm with Scott. Shane, what do you think about this one?
I'm sorry. So what are we trading for?
So are you
T-Law?
giving 3 firsts for Trevor Lawrence? One of them is going to be early.
No.
Let's assume. Yeah.
No. I mean, 3 firsts. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I might as well throw in a 4th and just go get Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like, you're pot committed at that point. Just go all in.
Well, doesn't Lawrence there kind of move my team into like, I'm going to finish 7th place now?
Yeah.
And so it actually hurts me a little bit. So yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. No, I'll hold.
Cassius Carter, thank you for the super chat. People call me Cassius Clay. That's like
Cool name here, Cassius Carter.
Yeah, that's cool. 12 team Superflex PPR start 12. Good for you. 1.5 for tight ends. No 3rd round reversal. If Kyler's on the board at the 2-3 turn, would you draft him with Mahomes or take best player available?
Isn't he the best player available? Probably.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say right there. He probably is the best player available, and I got a discount on him because I shouldn't be getting Kyler in the 3rd round. I know there's been stories. I've heard tales of people getting Kyler in like the 4th or 5th round, but I don't want to be in a league like that. So if he's sitting out there in the 2-3 turn, grab him.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. His bulletproof ADP is 303. So I think it's pretty much around where you would take him, but like, I'm curious who you're taking him over. Are you taking him over CJ Stroud? Are you taking him over? Like, that's probably the range where you're just saying you're deciding between Stroud and then are you taking him over Chris Olave, Shane?
Yeah, he's kind of in that range too, isn't he?
Chris Olave's already off the board, so I don't even have to make that decision.
If Travis Kelce's there, are you taking him over Kelce?
Yes.
Okay.
He's still a quarterback at a super flex that's wildly undervalued. He's a startup. He's a 1st round startup pick next year.
Fair.
Yep.
Book it, bitches. But just make sure you go get you a quarterback that can start like 4 or 5 weeks to start this year for you.
Would you go Mahomes, Kyler, CJ Stroud?
No, because if I'm drafting Kyler, I don't want to draft another quarterback that I can't start for the first 4 weeks. And CJ Stroud's beginning of his season is fucking brutal. Like, I know I don't get in the strength of schedule much, but
it's bad.
It's rough for a rookie. Like, if they actually like this dude, they would let him sit the first 4, 5, 6 weeks. But
yep. Okay, so this is here's the one that we said
There's
we
a
were going to get to, right? Yeah.
There's a second part to it, right, Kobe? But he does one of two, but there's no second part because I did search up and down because I didn't want Kobe coming after me with that Mamba mentality.
Well, Kobe is going to keep coming after us because we don't have the second part of his thing here. No, I mean, whatever. It looks like it ends with a question. We're going to say that this is all of it. Okay.
I mean, he wanted his super chat answered. I'm guessing he didn't leave the stream without watching right now. So if we missed a part, add it in here in the next 30 seconds while Clay reads the question.
Yep. All right, Kobe. So 12-team PPR Superflex start 10. Mahomes, Burrow, Howell. I feel we've seen a lot of Howell. Like his name, I guess, is coming out of the, out of the closet now that he's relevant. Mahomes, Burrow, Howell, Najee, Madison, AJ Dillon, Warren, Chase, Waddle, T, Ayuk, Pickens, Shaheed, 24 second, 25, and 26 first, I'm guessing. Try and tear down from Waddle or T or hold and play. Moves?
I'm just trying. Why are we tearing down from Waddle and T? For what purpose?
And how did Rashid Shaheed get in the question?
Look, Rashid Shaheed is...
how is he not further up in the list of the wide receivers?
That's
my
question.
There's a lead with Shaheed.
So is he saying tear down from... No, don't tear down. I don't know why you would tear down from...
No, this is a monster winner right now on this roster. I'm good with it, man. You got Burrow, Chase,
T stack.
I guess he's saying because he doesn't have any 24 first is what it looks like. But no, I won't worry about that with this wide receiver room. Not at all.
You can win with this team that we're looking at right now.
Yeah. And it's not even, you got Hero RB too. So even if you like running backs, you got Najee as your Hero RB, and then Madison is, he'll be okay.
Go move Rashid Shaheed for like Raheem Mostert or someone like that. I'm serious.
You could probably do a little better than that.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, don't get cute. You've got an awesome team. Don't be tearing down. That's when Shane said, "What are you tearing down for?" I totally agree.
I'll say this. So, if you could move from Waddle to Devonta Smith in the first, or T from Devonta Smith in the first, sure. But that's not really tearing down. That's just fooling somebody in your league.
Okay, so orange is also a breed of popsicle. This is correct.
And it's a fruit.
And it's a fruit. Oh yeah, was it confirmed like Orange Cat versus Tabby?
I saw in the chat he
did
confirmed
Orange Cat win.
It was Tabby.
Oh, was it?
Ooh. It's also an agent.
It's also, it is Agent Orange. There we go. Okay, Leaky Spaghetti. Thank you for the super chat. Scott, going with you on this one. 12 teams, start 10, Superflex, PPR, 1.5 tight end premium. Gave up my first in the startup to get a QB and never got any first back. Tear down from Bijan for more flexibility or ride it out. The team is Fields, Watson, Jimmy G. Running backs are Bijan, Ramondre, Aaron Jones, Khalil Herbert. Wide receivers Higgins, Kupp, Quentin Johnston, Dio John, Juju. Tight ends are Goddard and Everett. Last part is haven't had any luck tearing down from Higgins. Nobody liked him, and he slid in the startup. Projected top 3 team according to Dynasty Daddy in South Harmon. So let's he's asking, the initial question was tear down from Bijan to get more flexibility or ride it out. I just put his team up on the screen, Shane.
So 2 ideas here. I would tear down from Dallas Goedert if someone would be willing to do that. I don't care about the tight end on this format. So if I can tear down from Goddard to get even an extra second and Freiermuth or someone like that allows me an extra shot at another piece. The tear down from Bijan, I'm okay with it. It's just how much risk do I want to take? Can I get what running back is risky enough? Can I get Josh Jacobs and 2 firsts for Bijan? Like a deal like that, if I could do it, it's really risky, but I could also look at myself and be like, wow, if Jacobs plays, or if I can even just flip him into something else, I've turned Bijan into a lot more value. That's the way to get it back. Otherwise, like, honestly, Shane, how do you even tear down from Bijan unless it's like Gibbs in a first? Like, there really isn't any Breece Hall or Gibbs in a first, and it's like those are the only guys I really want to tear down to, unless I'm getting multiple firsts or another starter back.
Yeah, I mean, if it's at the same position, that's the only way to do it. And we've already talked about the wide receivers that we would do it for. We've been talking about this since the draft, literally since the draft.
Chris Olave and a first for Bijan.
Yes, you smashed that, obviously. But If you're unbiased, probably not. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I obviously have love eyes. Sure. I have love eyes for Olave and Garrett Wilson, him too. But I would do that. I would take a first and one of those two for Bijan. But that's just me.
I like the cross position idea because I'm always thinking like
Yeah.
position for position in a pick, but those are the optics are hard to sell to smart people on those types of trades. So I like that. Good suggestion.
Dan Vera, who kind of clipped Kingsbury of old a little bit.
He looks like a
See
motivational
that?
speaker. So
He looks like he's successful.
He
plays in an
definitely does.
8-team start 10.
Yeah.
So
with a $9,000 buy-in that he's just been monster winning for years.
Right. God, we need Dan's help. Clearly, he's look at us compared to him. Okay, Dan Vera, thank you for the super chat.
I love his hair, by the way. That's why I'm wearing a hat, because I don't have hair like that. But anyway.
Oh man, I know. Let's see. 8-team start 10 PPR to 2 quarterback, 4-point per passing touchdown. Have Lamar, T-Law, Watson, Chase, Devontae, Smith, Cooper, Ridley, Pitts. Give Garrett Wilson and Howell. Get either a Kupp. I'm trying to read. I see Shane's hat. All right. Get either Kupp, DJ Moore, 24 third, or B, Judy, ETN, and a mid 24 first. Okay. So giving Garrett Wilson and Howell, and the options are Kupp, DJ Moore, and a third, or Judy, ETN, and a mid 24 first.
I'm not doing either of these. I guess Kupp and Moore would be okay. It's start 10, but I don't want to do that.
Can I get Kupp, DJ Moore in the first?
Can I get ETN Kupp in the first?
Yeah. It's an 8-team start 10, so very shallow, and it's a 2 QB, which you have an awesome QB room for the 2 QB format. Lamar, T-Law, Watson, like you're awesome there. So yeah, I'm not tearing down here, right? Like, what's the point? It's too shallow. I'm starting Chase, Devontae Smith, Calvin Ridley, Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, and 2 great QBs. I'm good.
Look, I just talked about Olave and Wilson. Like, dude, I'm pot committed on these two. Like, I clearly think these two are going to be. Yes,
you are.
I clearly think that you're going to be trying to sell these two for Jefferson Chase value next year.
We should do a show right before the season of
my guys.
No, everybody's doing the fucking my guys.
Nope. Here it is. Because Ray and I are going to do the same thing on Destination Chill. It is going to be, how can we fail this year? Shit that's going to happen that if we're wrong, we fail. And the first 2 names that come to mind with Shane are Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave.
No. Chris Olave and Deshaun Watson. I'm fucking dead. That's all it takes.
Okay, there you go.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. Okay. We still have 314 people in here. 314 eyeballs. Thanks for hanging around, sticking around with us. Sorry, lots of super chats tonight that we've been focusing on. EV Diz 17. Thank you for yours. 12-team Superflex start 12 PPR 1.75 tight end premium startup this weekend. Sexy. Love the format. I'm at the 111 third round reversal. If no trade ups, what's your ideal start, assuming the top 8 QBs and 2 wide receivers are gone? Cheers. So Shane, I mean, you can start by speaking to what you did in the Squirt League. You took Bijan at what? Was it 111 or 112?
No. I took Anthony Richardson at 112 because I didn't want to take a running back in the first round. And I took Bijan at 201. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm starting like there. Like, I'm going balls out. Like, I love Kyler. You know what I mean? It's fun to take Kyler right there, but it just feels like I'm batting for average. I'm shooting for average, right? At least this way, and I have my own 24 first. I'm either going to be really good or really bad. So I'm going to Anthony Richardson, Bijan start, and just balls to the wall. And, you know, either it'll be really good or I'll be picking up Caleb Williams next year.
Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, Burrow, Lawrence, Herbert, Lamar, Fields, Watson, Richardson. I don't count 8. I count 10 you could justify taking. So with that, I'm probably taking one of those QBs there at the 111, and then I'll take Bijan, Richardson, whatever's next, Kyler, CD Lamb. You know what I mean? I'll just go best player available. There's probably a chance you get Richardson at that 202 spot. So good. Not a terrible spot to be. You're already screwed being in the back half of the draft. So just got to embrace it.
Yep. Zach Thielbar, thank you for the super chat. Look at that pose. He's got like some Coronas like in front of a pool. 12-team Superflex, start 10. Waddle, Olave, Kirk, QJ, Debo, Mike Evans, Tony. Running backs are Mixon, Sanders, Charbonnet, Gainwell, etc. Do you feel comfortable with the running backs to compete or balance it out a little? Okay, so the running backs, Mixon, Miles Sanders, Charbonnet, Gainwell. You don't have yeah, it's good though, right? I mean,
I'm totally fine with a running back room like this. That does not worry me at all. I'll worry about it later on. No
Mixon
issues.
could be a hammer this year, right? This season, Mixon could drop the hammer, but then
Well, I mean, don't say hammer because that makes me think of gun. And Mixon's had some issues with guns. We don't want him pulling any more guns on people. Stop it.
hammer does not make me think about a gun. It makes me think about
the hammer
weapons.
on the old gun, on the old school guns.
Can I move Kadarius Toney for a couple more running back bodies here? Guys like in the Gainwell, in the Jalen Warren range. Can I get like 2 of those guys for Kadarius Toney, who's useless in a start 10? That's what I want to do here.
Yeah, let's see. No, I agree. Okay, Zach, thank you for the question. What's this, David Ross?
I just want to make sure Shane's house isn't on fire. There was an alarm.
Oh, it might be, yeah, but that's fine. We'll be all right.
Let me ask you a quick question. Zach did give the $10 super chat. Just real quick though, I think in this startup I took Charbonnet over Mixon. Where's your head at with that? Was that a smart move or was that dumb?
I don't see how you look at Mixon and say there's not a chance he's like top 12 again, even if he's bad. You know, like they're planning on giving him as many touches as he can handle. Now, if he gets hurt or he gets in trouble, like, okay, then it's over. But like he's literally been top 15 the last like 4 seasons, other than 1 year where he was injured. So I mean, I don't see how you can't take him.
It was also going to be my RB3, and I felt like Charbonnet is going to have maybe a little bit more value insulation. I was also going old as shit. You should see my startup. Or well, I guess
Look,
I saw it.
The way you do it is Joe Mixon's 26 or 27, right? He's at the age where non-elite running backs in the past have fallen off the cliff, and it's usually a cliff. It's not like it's gradual. Like, hey, they went from 18 points to 15 to 12 to 9. It's like, no, they went from starter to holy shit, I can't believe that they signed with the San Diego Chargers. I didn't even hear about that. So that's the thought process behind taking Charbonnet over Mixon. I don't know if I would have done it, but
I mean, here's the contrary though. You get J.K. Dobbins or Cam Akers, and they literally are where Charbonnet is now, and they've never been good. Like they've never actually had a season where it's as good as Joe Mixon's best 3 seasons.
Yeah. But again,
so it's risky. I don't want to. I guess where we maybe play a little differently. I don't draft a guy like Charbonnet for anything but this year. If he survives and he's alive next year, then fine. But I'm not going to take him over a guy I know I can potentially get like 350 touches out of this year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. So just real quick, Johnny Mac said GW is legit. Future wide receiver 1. Olave is fool's gold. I agree. Olave is gonna bust.
We're gonna cut that conversation here. Otherwise, it's another 10 minutes.
Olave is gonna face plant. No. He's still going to have a lot of value insulation, even if he's like meh. Okay. Taylor Clark, thank you for the super chat. This is the last one we have. Stick around with us. 321 eyeballs. Startup, 10 teams, start 10, PPR, punted running back. So Orb, Burrow, ETN, Gibson, Miller, Warren, Chase Olave, Dotson, Burks, JSN, Flowers, Skymore, Dubs, and Freiermuth. Winnable. Phil Taxi for 101.
Superflex?
Is this not a super flex?
It must not be. I mean, it's only one QB, and he's asking if it's winnable. So must be a single QB.
I mean, your wide receivers in Chase Olave and even Dotson.
I don't think it's.
I don't think it can win.
Not if you punt it running back and tight end because
He punted good
Primer.
players after Chase, Olave, and Burrow.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm all.
He's got JSN. Like he's got some decent value, but I don't.
I mean, honestly, he has two monsters in Chase and Olave, and Etienne's okay.
So let me ask you this: how is he filling the taxi to get the 101? Can he just put everybody on the taxi?
I don't know. Yeah, who's he going to put on there?
Can he put like year 4 Joe Burrow on the taxi?
If you could put year 2 guys, well then, yeah, Olave goes on there, Dotson goes on there. I'd let Burks start every week. JSN, whatever, Flowers. Yeah, I'd start Sky, Dobbs.
Clay, let me ask you this: if you take Burrow and Chase in a startup, do you have the stomach to just waste a season of their potential prime by putting them on the taxi?
No, I can't do it. I'd rather trade them to a better person than do that. I personally wouldn't, but this team can't win, so I see why he's asking.
This is not a super flex, though. Taylor's in the comments indicating it's not a super flex, and he's indicating that by saying no, which is it's a pretty strong indication.
It's a weird build. I don't think you have the ability to tank to get the 101 because I'm assuming you can't. If you can just now, if there's just like a 15-man taxi and you can taxi every player just randomly, then okay, sure, but I'm guessing there's parameters like first or second year guys, like Shane was saying. So
at least you're in a place where you have assets with value. You have a lot of assets that have value. Yeah. So that's the first place to start, guys. That's all we have starred. But before everybody bounces and we'll say our goodbyes and whatnot, it's actually a big week. Shane and I have 2 more streams this week. Tomorrow is it's going to be really cool, actually. Should be really fun. Nikki Gist from the Blonde Blitz. So she is a reporter for the New York Giants, and she has a co-host who is Emmy-winning reporter for the Eagles. I don't know if she's going to be on there, but it's going to be me, Shane, and Nikki. It's going to be a ton of fun talking football. And then Thursday, it's going to be Jax Falcone. Is that how we say it? Scott is his name, but from Dino Game Theory. That's going to be a kick-ass show as well. That's on Thursday. So 3 streams in a row, baby. But yeah, hope you can make it Wednesday and Thursday. That would be awesome. Guys, you want to say good night to our lovely 325 still in here, our rock solid tribe?
Yeah, this was a good stream. We got a ton of questions, more than we can answer. Probably left, hundreds on the table. So apologize for not getting to them. News coming soon on extra places you can maybe ask us questions. But yeah, great stream after last week. Being a week off, we came back super strong this week, and looking forward to the stream, especially with Jax. I should be able to drop on for a little bit on Thursday. He's a good dude, really, really sharp, really well-spoken, has a really good podcast. The Undrafted works for the Undroppables on a Player Profiler. They have the show on there now, so good dude. Looking forward to that one. And then tomorrow night I have a draft that I won't be able to attend the stream, but good luck to both of you guys doing that. Interesting.
And good luck to you as well. Shane?
I can't wait to shit talk Giant fan because I'm just going to assume she's a fan of the Giants and she covers them.
No,
so I'm going to be merciless and probably boo her.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm going to throw batteries at her. I don't think I'll hit her because well, she's probably in New York and I can't throw that far. No, appreciate everyone jumping back on with us this week after having last week off, even though we ended up doing it Tuesday and then a Thursday anyway, but whatever.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Enjoyed it. Thanks so much for joining. We'll see you tomorrow night and Thursday night on the broadcast.